Well, Edmonton, at least you've got McDavid. Avs win over the Edmonton Oilers 4-3 in overtime. A first period of hockey was played in this game, at least allegedly, just not a whole lot happened in it. And the shots were 10-8 in the Avs' favor as well, but I can't even really think of one real grade A scoring chance for either team. Outside of the one penalty the Avs took and then kill, it was really just an even period snooze fest. Thankfully, both teams found their legs in the first intermission and kicked it up a notch in the second. With McKinnon out, it seems like the Avs are going to be relying heavily on their defensemen to pick up some of that scoring, and that's exactly what they do in this game, starting 3 minutes into the second period. Edmonton in full possession of the puck rims it behind their own net. Jost does a good job pressuring Sekera to force him to move the puck quicker than he would like. He shoots it up the boards, and that allows Zadorov to get to the puck and hold it in the zone. From there, Zadorov makes himself look like a quality forward as he just cuts to the middle of the ice with a little quick dangle to get around the forward trying to defend him, and then he goes snipe down on Montoya in the corner. Easy goal. And it's these little flashes of offense from Zadorov that make him really exciting. We already know what he can do physically, and we're seeing him very much so come into his own on the defensive end of the ice. But just not many guys his size can score goals like that one. If he can take his current 25-ish point pace and turn it into more of a 35-point pace, you could legitimately be looking at the #1 defenseman on this team in the future. After the goal, the teams continue playing pretty even hockey, but it has opened up a bit more. Eventually, that leads to the Oilers taking a penalty. And the Oilers taking a penalty at home is similar to just giving away a goal entirely. Their PK on home ice is flirting with 50%. That's just absurdly bad. Just like everybody else, the Avs capitalize on it. Not a ton to this one. Avs with the man advantage just work the puck around the perimeter. Landeskog to Rantanen, and Rantanen eventually goes up to Girard. Girard at the point has space, so he takes his time on this one, settles it down, picks his spot, and then unleashes a rope right into the top corner on the glove side. Not sure exactly what happens in front. It does look like Montoya is screened a bit, but not all the way. Girard just puts a good shot on and somewhere he can't find. From the behind the net angle, you can see as Girard is winding up at the point, Montoya is cheating a little bit towards his blocker side as Davidson is right in the middle of the slot and he can't see through him. So it's a great shot selection and execution from Girard to put that across Davidson's body and into the corner. So Montoya can't see it through Davidson. As it comes through, Montoya guesses low with the glove and he beats him high. Sam has played so well in Barry's absence, particularly on that power play, and scoring that goal there, given the chance to remain on that top unit even with Barry back, may have just cemented him into that spot. Between him and Zadorov, the top four on the left side of our defense is pretty set for years and years to come, hopefully. In case you forgot, Sam is just 19 and Zadorov is just 22, the same age as McKinnon. The youth is starting to take over that defense for us, and we only have more of it on the way. Outside of the ascension of McKinnon, the defense is probably the most exciting thing for me so far this year. But there are still some issues for sure. Less than a minute and a half after the Avs go up 2-0, well, they're going to feel the pain from McDavid. A nice stretch pass by Camilleri here leads to a 2-on-2 situation for Edmonton. The problem is you can see right here, Patrick Nemeth and Connor McDavid are even in the neutral zone. If you're even in the neutral zone, I don't care who you are as a defenseman, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with McDavid. He totally blasts past Nemeth. No chance for Nemeth to catch him at all. Nice pass across by Draisaitl to set up McDavid. And credit Bernier, he does a great job to save the first one, but it's still McDavid. He just knocks the rebound right out of midair past him. Nemeth had a bit of a rough night again. He's really been struggling since the Avs fell off the winning streak. Unfortunately, it's starting to seem more and more like the only place where he's consistently successful is a set-up defense in the D zone. And even then, you need to attach a puck mover to him, as he does struggle with that as well. And that's not to say he's terrible or anything. He's certainly a step up from some of the players we've had on our bottom pairing in the past. But with the Avs' current setup, he's playing 20 minutes a night in a top 4 role, while Girard isn't even playing 15. So there's a bit of a disconnect there, and I understand some of that is dealing with having both Girard and Barrie on the team. But it sure seems like it may help the Avs, particularly in the long run, working with Girard on his defensive game and start eating into at least a few of those Nemeth minutes. After the goal, Edmonton does get a little bit of a push, but it does remain fairly even up through the end of the second. And then we get NHL and referee shenanigans late in the period. Edmonton scores a goal that was not called anything initially, only to be reviewed by the refs, and then called a goal, and then challenged by the Avalanche and have the goal taken away. And it's just getting a little silly at this point. Before I get into this rant, I do want to have the disclaimer that ultimately the correct call was made, so that's good, but a whole lot of this system could have been cut out and we could come to that conclusion a lot quicker than the way that we did. So here's the goal from the overhead angle. Kajula is in close near the crease. Rantanen is clearly bear hugging him, and he would get a penalty for this after all was said and done. The puck comes through their skates, comes into Bernier, and Bernier clearly puts his glove on top of it. It's completely in Bernier's glove, there's no doubt about that, and Kajula clearly pushes his glove all the way back into the net, so it should be a no-goal. For the most part, this isn't on the refs. There is one thing I want to touch on that I will get to, but really they were just going by the book. When a situation like this comes up, the only thing the refs are supposed to do is check if the puck crossed the goal line or not. The puck clearly did cross the line, so that's how we got the initial good goal call. After that, the Avs challenge, and it was very clearly goalie interference, so we got to the correct no-goal call. So the problem I have here is the system in place. If the refs are going to review it anyway, why can't they check for goaltender interference? During live play, they're completely allowed to call that goaltender interference if they see it. In fact, it has happened to the Avs before. In that situation, it happened twice in the game, and the second time, the Avs could not even challenge the play against them. What if that had happened here? The initial goal call would have stood? That would be terrible. And a bit of a problem with this system that I think everyone probably saw coming a little bit is that it's supposed to be an emergency failsafe, but we're seeing the refs start to lean into it, maybe a little bit too much. With the challenge in place, unless the refs are very certain that goaltender interference happened, they will often not call it to let the play continue. That puts the onus on the coaches to have to challenge the play to get to the correct call. And it sure seemed like the refs knew this was going to be a goaltender interference call too when the Avs challenged, as they went back to look at the video, and I think they might have looked at it once and then came back and quickly gave the obvious no-goal answer. So again, you got the right call, good job, but the fact that you needed a challenge to get there, that's not good, and beyond that, it took far too long to get there. No system is perfect, I get that, but this one has some really glaring flaws. So as stated, the Avs go to the penalty kill off of that Rantanen penalty. But you know who shines the brightest on the penalty kill? That's right, trade bait. In the dying seconds of the second period, as Edmonton's on the power play, Klefbom goes back to retrieve a puck, but he just overskates it, and to make matters worse, flubs the puck, knocking it further away from himself. This allows Como to streak in and collect it. To make matters worse for Klefbom, Como beats him, gets around him, cutting to the center of the ice, allowing a clear lane into Montoya, and then he puts on a pretty sweet move, bringing it back to the backhand and through Montoya. That's Como's third short-handed goal of the season. The guy has just been a monster on the PK for the Avs. I think what Saka can get for him is really going to be a test on this year to see how the Avs can shape themselves towards the future. Como is the perfect deadline rental, being an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year and a veteran, so a lot of teams are likely going to be interested. Given his free agent status, it's a huge risk to not move him, as if the Avs get nothing for him, that's just a waste. As much as I love what he's doing with the Avs next year, if he really wants to be here, he can sign here in free agency. So that's a huge goal for the Avs. You now go into the third period up 2, and Edmonton is deflated, having given one up on their own power play. The start of the third period actually looks fantastic. The Avs are getting the better chances and the majority of the chances, including Tyson Jost just pinging one off the post for the 39th of those on the season. 5 posts in the last 2 games. The Avs sure are making up for lost time in that statistic. Then about 7 minutes into the period, Edmonton gets a bit of a dirty one. After Bernier makes a save, the puck trickles down to the far corner, and the Avs lose the race to the puck here, so they can't clear. From there, Edmonton gets to reset up, and coming from the point, this shot is just going to go into the middle. It's very crowded. It ends up hitting off of Kajula. I'm not sure if it hits his shaft of his stick, maybe off his hand, or just somewhere in his midsection in general. Deflects perfectly in past Bernier. Nothing he could do. Do wish the Avs could have maybe got to that puck and cleared it, but greasy ones are greasy ones. That's why you get 2-goal leads. Unfortunately, with the lead just one, you could see the Avs kind of panic, and they start to sag back in their system, playing the full turtle. In the final 13 minutes of regulation, they would only attempt 4 shots on goal total. That's just not good enough. Playing scared is just a recipe for failure, and they would end up getting what they earned in this one. With time winding down and the goalie pulled, just 30 seconds left, Edmonton would call on their savior. In the 6-on-5 situation, Edmonton's just going to work it along the blue line for a while before eventually the puck goes to Draisaitl, who takes a shot from roughly the center point. It does get through all the bodies in front, but ends up missing just wide on the goal and ricocheting hard off of the backboards. The Avs get caught collapsed a little bit too much down low, with 3 of them in tight to the goal to just 2 of the Oilers. That leaves McDavid open on the far side. The rebound skips right out to him, and he rips it past Bernier. So maybe a bit unlucky there, but whenever McDavid's on the ice, you should probably have a pretty good idea of where he is. We've seen many teams unafraid to double team McKinnon, and I know you can't cover everyone in a 6-on-5 situation, but even then I wouldn't be opposed to marking McDavid specifically. So last game, you had one where the Avs got a little bit lucky in having a lead into the third period, and they end up blowing it. This one, you have a game where the Avs definitely should have been able to win this one a bit easier, and they end up having to take it to overtime. Not a great look, but we'll give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that they didn't have McKinnon to do something spectacular for them in that third period. The first minute and a half of OT or so was very sloppy for the Avs. They really struggled to hold onto the puck at all and gave up multiple very dangerous chances. Thankfully, some great defensive plays bailed them out, particularly Zadorov on McDavid. He does get beat a bit in the foot race, but the long reach of his allows him to poke the puck off McDavid's stick before he can get away clean for a breakaway. It's nice when prospects start realizing their ceiling, isn't it? Over 2 minutes in, the Avs finally get one possession of the puck into the offensive zone and get a shot off, and then a great play by Barrie to redeem himself from last game gets the Avs what they wanted. The play starts off a great poke check by Compher, knocking the puck off of Kajula and out into the high part of the zone. Kajula does initially recover the puck, but then does a bit of a panic pass, and Compher, sticking with the play, is in the exact right spot. He's able to take the puck away and get it up to Landeskog. That gets the Avs into the offensive zone. They pass across back to Compher, who opts for a shot. Nurse ends up blocking it, but he's not sure where it ended up as it drops straight down into his skates. Barrie, coming around the backside of the net, is the first one to notice where it is, so he's able to pick it away and keep possession with the Avalanche. From there, he holds up and eventually opts to shoot the puck again. Once again, Nurse does a good job to block this, but it goes off of his skate, and the Oil have had a couple of lucky bounces in this one. It's time for the Avs to get one. It goes right to Compher's stick, and all he has to do is flip it into the open net. A good one for Compher. A couple of easy chances he's had in the past couple of games have started inching up that shooting percentage, and he's starting to move into that percentage that I wanted to see him get to. Not to mention, he seems to be money out there in overtime when the Avs opt for him. So it wasn't as pretty as you would have liked it to be, but the Avs still take down the win. And this is a big win, not only for the obvious standings reasons that I talked about in the last game, but also because it really motivates the Avs. They stopped a losing streak at 3, which is something that happens to every team in the league over the course of an entire season. If you can keep it from getting to 4 or even higher, it feels pretty good. But maybe even more importantly than that, they proved to themselves that they can win games without Nathan McKinnon. Putting that narrative to bed before it can even become a thing is awfully nice. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I'm Rudo3, and this season, when McKinnon doesn't play, the Avs are undefeated. Fact.